Right, Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Lord willing, is edifying to the elect. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, great millstone, who I learned this truth from. They are the leaders of all Israel in these end times, showing you the correct way to salvation. Shalom to you, Akwaf in order that may be listening, watching, and learning. Shalom to you, Israelites, on highways and hedges, teaching this gospel in all sincerity and in truth, making your calling and election sure and giving up your body as a living sacrifice. Shalom to you, Israelites scattered abroad and may look like these other nations, but your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, making you a Hebrew Israelite regardless of your appearance. Because this thing ain't about color, it is about the chosen seed line. Shalom means peace be unto you. Right, so I got this shouldn't be a long lesson. I got a few things that came across that I just kind of want to bring to your attention, which further proves that the Bible is true and that the things that we've been teaching is the 100% truth. You're seeing it manifest. Okay, so I've got a few little things I want to bring to your attention. The first thing you see right here is some goofy idiot, some autistic weirdo on your screen. This pathetic look on his face. It goes by the name Elon Musk. Not sure if you've heard of him. This autistic looking guy on the screen. He says, if white men... Oh, he posted 100. He's reposted this. Basically, he's in agreement with this statement. He's in agreement with this statement, right? It says, if white men, which, there's no such thing as white men. That's a term they came up with. And what they're really known as in the Holy Bible is the Edomites. And if you want to go by color, they're known as red people, not white people. The Bible calls them red. But anyway, it says, if white men become a minority, we will be slaughtered. Remember, if non-whites openly hate white men, while white men hold a collective majority, then they will be 1,000 times more hostile and cruel when they are a majority. And it goes on to say something else, but I can't read that. So this is what the so-called white man fears, is retribution for all the wickedness that they've done to our people and to brown people all over the earth at that, going and destabilizing their countries and then calling them a third world country and calling them low IQ and just being the bully, man. So their fear is becoming a minority because they know that that's not good news for them. So they are going all out. And you got the leaders of the Edomites in these end times, people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk and people of that, people like them. They're basically coming down having great wrath, as it states in Revelations chapter 12 and 12, because they know they don't have long left to rule. I was going to start with another scripture, but I think we'll jump to that because it's important for us to understand that these people are the devil that the Bible's speaking about, and you have to look at things. You have to read this Bible with a spiritual eye and link it up with what's going on in the world to get the full understanding, right? So Revelations 12 and 12, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. It says, for the devil, which is the so-called white man, the nation of Edom, it says, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So that's why there is absolute chaos in America, and that's why they're openly saying, yeah, we are the devil. They're going around stealing people's countries, stealing oil, all to uphold their so-called white supremacy, because they fear that they're going down, okay? That they're going to be a minority and that we're going to treat them harshly. But they can't stop prophecy, because prophecy says that we will get the upper hand and that they are going into slavery and there's nothing they can do about it. But what they are going to do is going to fight carnally, because they're backed against the wall. So these devils, as the Bible has proved that these people are the devil that the Bible speaks of, but these devils are coming down having great wrath, and they're forming militias as a way to fight back. You saw them men with their face covered marching through the streets. Those right-wing white supremacist militias jumping out the back of U-Hauls, forming all around the country. And they're talking about white man fight back, white man fight back. You know, these people have become a joke in the world in these end times, and everyone's starting to see their true colors, because they can't hide who they really are anymore, just like the Bible said that he would be exposed, right? Let's quickly find that. There we go. Right, let's read Obadiah 1 and verse 2 to begin with. It says, "Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised." So the Edomite is small among the heathen. The Lord has made them small, meaning it's twofold, really. Really, it means they're insignificant. But, you know, their numbers are dwindling too. They're not having children because they're all either gay or can't get women, or they're just not reproducing. You know, they don't get it in like Jake, man. Okay. So they see us multiplying around them, and they're fearing that, you know, fearing becoming the minority, especially with the migrants, you know, all the propaganda of the migrants coming in their countries, taking over. They're panicking, man. But the Lord is exposing them, and he said that they're greatly despised. And if you jump down to verse 6, it says, "How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?" Okay, so the things of Esau is searched out now. Everybody sees them for who they are, which is the devil that the Bible speaks of, okay? So this goofy idiot here, oh, look, that picture makes me laugh. They chose the right shot for this image. Because no one takes these people serious anymore. They're just a joke of the world now. It's over for the Edomite, man. It's not a good time to be an Edomite. But I want to show you a clip or two of, you know, where they're at right now. You know, the fact that they're getting ready to get carnal. They're getting ready to get violent upon you jakes that don't have the Lord's protection. You jakes that wanted to scoff at us, Hebrew Israelites, when we're warning you of the times that you're coming into and showing you the way to salvation, the way to be protected from these times, okay? But you people that didn't listen wanted to scoff.
Oh, no ICE agent ever run up on me.
You people that didn't want to listen and wanted to scoff, you're going to have to learn the hard way, man, okay? So what I'm going to show you is this video right here first. It's because Trump's got these devils emboldened, man, and they're desperate. You can see the desperation in this man. And this is just one man. You know, he could easily get jumped, but he don't care. He's standing there bold as a lion because their back is against the wall. They're coming down having great wrath because they know they have a short time. All right. So without further ado, let me play this. And then I got a few scriptures. And I'm going to show you some more clips how Jake is rising up too. And there will be a race war. Okay. There will be a race war and a civil war on U.S. soil. Okay.
Some pussy. Anytime. Come on. Anyone who wants to fucking ride the lightning can come get this. Kyle
Take your mask off, pussy!
1488.
Take your mask off, pussy!
1488. Kyle Hitler. Kyle Hitler. Kyle Hitler. Go ahead, you white liberal woman. Kyle Hitler. Kyle Hitler. 1488. 1488. The change is coming. The sun will rise again. America, wake up! White people, wake up! Look at your country! Look at what it's become! Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler! Sing out! Sing out! Sing out! Your grandfathers and great-grandfathers died drowning in their own blood for you to come out here and support criminal illegal aliens! Think about it! Think about it! You've been brainwashed! This is America! This is America!
Take your ass off, pussy!
Shut up, you fucking lesbian! You fat bitch! Shut the fuck up!
You bitch!
Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler! Sing Heil! Sing Heil!
Through. What a joke Esau has become, man. Their glory days are over. You can see the desperation in this, man. They are hurt and they are through, man. Okay. And he kept saying 1488. I know that's something to do with so-called white supremacy. It's like a secret code of theirs. I forget exactly what it means. I saw a video about it a few months back, but I forgot. But I'm sure you could easily Google or use AI and look it up. But yeah, that's just an example of how desperate these people are, man. You know, the thing about the Edomite is they're fed propaganda and they fall for everything that is put in front of them. And they call themselves high IQ. They call us low IQ. But they, you know, they constantly prove with their actions that these people are actually the ones with the low IQ, okay? They're the biggest recipients of the jab. And they're the ones that were voting for Trump in droves, thinking that they were going to make America great again, thinking that their vote counted. They actually thought Trump was the man to fix America. You know, and us of the hopeful elect, and, you know, even a lot of 2/3 as at that, you know, could see that, you know, Trump weren't going to fix America. You can't trust no Edomite, okay? The Bible states clearly that they are our enemy and that you cannot trust your enemy, all right? Sirach, what is that? Sirach 12:10. Never trust thine enemy. Okay? So you lean upon the scriptures, you're going to be stable, you're going to be fine in these days, man. You lean upon what the prophets are telling you, which is the voice of the Lord, you're going to be all right, man. You ain't going to get mowed down like the rest of these jakes, because they're getting ready to get mowed down. Because we're coming into the time that the Bible calls Jacob's trouble. Let me bring that out real quick for those that may not know. Jeremiah 30:7. It says, alas, Jeremiah 30:7, alas, for that day is great, meaning that time period. It says, so that none is like it, meaning there's never been a time like this, and there never will be again after it. And this is going to be the worst time there's ever been on earth. It says, it is even a time of Jacob's trouble, and Jacob is short. Jacob is another name for you biblical Israelites, because Jacob's name was changed to Israel, okay? And then he went on to have 12 sons, which became the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, okay? Because Jacob formed his own nation of people, which was the chosen nation, the chosen seed line, okay? Which is predominantly in the world today. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you do have a few other people of other races that will be Israelites that look like other races of people, but but they are actually our people. And we could tell through the Spirit, because the scriptures speak about how the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the sons of God. Okay, so we are the sons of the Most High. All right, but let me read this from the top again. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. So it's a bad time for you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, because the devil, these devils have come down unto you having great wrath, as it states in Revelations chapter 12 and verse 12, as I just read. It says, but he shall be saved out of it. And that he it's speaking about is the elect of Israel, okay? The ones that listen, the ones that recognize the prophets and cleave to them in these end times, which is a very few of us. But, you know, it's the Lord's promise that we're going to be saved out of this time, okay? And it shows you that it's going to be by miracles coming from the archangel. 12 and 1, right? Michael the archangel. This is Daniel chapter 12 verse 1. It says, and at that time, talking about the time of Jacob's trouble, shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. It says, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So that lines up with Jeremiah 30 and 7, saying that this is going to be a horrible time we're coming into, man, because these devils are desperate, and they are a violent nation of people, and they're going to prove to you that they're the devil. Just like we've been saying, you call us racist hate preachers when you just can't handle the truth at the end of the day. Okay, the truth is ugly. It's a hard pill to swallow. Most of you want the blue pill. You just want to go back to sleep. You want to continue living in the fantasy land that you've been living in, and you don't want to live in the real world. You're about to meet the real world face to face in the very near future, man. And by then, it's going to be too late for you people that are outside the spiritual ark. It continues on. It says, at that time, right, the time of Jacob's trouble, this time that we're coming into, it says that at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, okay, which is the book of life, meaning the ones that are of the elect, okay? Those are the ones that are going to be saved out of this time, as it's stated in Jeremiah 30 and 7. He shall be saved out of it, talking about the ones written in the book of life, okay? Now, I want to show you another scripture, and then I'm going to play another video. Let's go to the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 15, all right? Because the scriptures warned us about race war. Where is it? 15 and 14. Yeah. All right, so let's read this. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. All right, so just like we read in Revelations 12 and 12, it says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. Well, this backs it up. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, which means draws near. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that sword is a modern day sword, which is the gun, okay? Mainly the gun. Pretty much weapons in their hands, but the modern day sword is the gun. And you know, Americans are big on toting guns. You know, they love their guns, man. Because Esau was blessed with the sword. That was his blessing, pursuant to Genesis 27, around verse 40. Okay, and so the Edomites, the devil, is gonna come down having great wrath because they don't have long left to rule. You got to connect the dots to understand this Bible. And you have to have the Holy Spirit to open your mind up to understand this, okay? And if you can understand this, you know, then more than likely you're an Israelite. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So there's going to be sedition, which means, you know, inciting rebellion against the government, basically, right? And they're not going to regard their kings or princes. They're going to stand up and fight each other, which is going to be civil war and race war. And the course of their actions is going to stand in their power. There's going to be bloodshed, man. And ain't nobody going to stop them. The police are going to be in on it. You know, because they were helping the so-called white supremacists when they were in them U-Hauls. They would help them. Okay? I've got the video proof. I've got the evidence to show you, man. To prove to you.
To see the officer on the overpass. You're about to see the officer on the overpass first, ordering the white supremacist group to get into the U-Haul and leave the bridge when counter-protesters then arrive. So about 5 minutes later, you could see the same officer walk up to the U-Haul outside of a Laughlin local schools building shortly before kids were about to be released from class that day. Here's the exchange now between the Evendale officer and the neo-Nazi group in the U-Haul, and the one man not wearing a mask you're about to see asking if he can go back and pick up his service dog where the protest happened on the overpass on 75.
We're trying to figure out a plan to get that.
Yeah, I don't know if we've got to get him an Uber or something. That's probably the best bet, I'm guessing. I don't think anybody knows about
There's a dog. If the dog in there is cool with, if the dog is in there is cool with me driving it to you guys, I can go and get it. But there's a dog in there. I don't know.
We need to get it. He's my service animal. That's why I really need to get him. But
Get you an Uber. Let's go.
Here,
Get your mask on. Let's
I don't
go.
give a my face right now.
just take take that black that shirt off, and you can get my car.
Cool, thank you, brother.
And then
God bless you, dude.
if I got in the driver's seat of the car, would the dog bite me? You think?
No.
No. Okay.
No,
He's a good dog.
He'll sniff you to death.
You make sure you got your keys.
Officer, did you see
Hey,
Yeah, I got the.
you guys have? Are you guys done?
Yeah, we're done.
We're done for the
There's
day.
no other.
We're just trying to go get the dog and get the Jeep, and then we're out.
Yeah, we're gone.
Let's go grab it.
These Edomites and their damn dogs, man. They have this freaky, crazy obsession with dogs. But anyway, that's the red devil for you, okay? They're all together, okay? Because you got the Grand Wizard of the KKK in the White House. And as the officer, as the ruler of the people are, so are his officers. So they're all roused up. They're all in unison, and they all agree that they need to shed the blood of brown people, preferably the Israelites. They're attacking Muslims and Somalians too, anyone brown, but their main target is the tribes, okay? The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, because you're the biblical Israelites, and you're up next to rule, okay? These Edomites are going down. They don't have long left to rule. But anyway, so yeah, they're helping each other, okay? And there's going to be a race war. There's going to be civil war, race war, all of that, man. Let's quickly show you another clip, because Jake is getting roused up, okay? With this ICE stuff going on and all that. Jake is roused up. Check this out, man.
Cause
Oh no, ICE agent.
people with no cause and murdering people for trying to flee and for obeying a command to leave the area, and then shooting her in the face like that after she drops her kid off at school. We have to show up with guns. We have to. There's no other way around it. I don't care if I don't have a Minnesota carry permit. I'm unarmed right now, but this is the last time I show up to face these guys without a weapon. There's no way. I got shot with a pepper ball 5 minutes after walking in here. I never laid a finger on them. I never raised a hand to them. I've only been using my voice. The time for speaking is over. The time for niceties is over. The time for peace is over. They fired the first shot. It is time to end this shit by any means necessary.
You're talking about, potentially going to a dark place in this country. Do you foresee?
We're there. This is the dark place. This is the dark time. We have people being sent to Salvadorian concentration camps. We got other countries being raided for their oil. We're in the dark time. There's no way out of this. There's no voting our way out of this. We can't wait till November. There's no waiting to the ballot box. We need to get to the bullet box. That's the only way. If there was another way, I'd be advocating for it. I've spoken peacefully. I've marched peacefully. I marched without Sharpton. I marched on Washington. I've been peaceful. I've acted peacefully. The time for peace is over. The time for any means necessary is right now.
I mean, that's a powerful, powerful message that you're delivering.
He said it's time for the bullet box, not the ballot box. They finally figured out their vote don't count. Oh, these Americans are through, okay? But, you know, they're outside the ark, man. Leave them be. You can't, you know, there's nothing we could do for them. They've had their warning. And next comes the great death that the Bible speaks about, and bloodshed, okay? Let me show you one more clip. I'm going to bring out a few scriptures. We'll close it out.
Won't no ICE agent ever run up on me. I guarantee you they won't. I'll put a hole in their chest the size of a window. Safe line repair, safe line replace. That's what's gonna happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, fuck around and find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, we're the same Panther Party from back in the day, but we're a little more aggressive now, you dig? Carry bigger guns and we don't take no shit. Places where there are a lot of immigrants at, I think that the community around them needs to take special care to them and needs to start escorting them to and from everywhere to make sure that they're safe. Because them ICE agents ain't gonna act like that if it's a bunch of people standing outside with assault rifles and shotguns. It's a semi-automatic shotgun. That means them shotgun shells that shoot out of a pump, they shoot them rapidly. If you are gonna legally arm yourself with something bigger than what they got. Those who serve in the public, they should be fearful of the public. They should be fearful that the public's going to be dissatisfied with their job that they're doing, not feeling like they're tyrants, not feeling like they're bullies because they got guns and body armor and walkie-talkies. That makes them immune to whatever the people would do. I think you want to correct the ideology of the pig and the mentality of the slave catcher, you meet them with equal force. All power to the motherfucking people.
No power to the pig.
They're all going to get mowed down. Everyone you saw in that video will die. Okay, because we're coming into a time of great death and suffering. Let's go ahead and go to it, man. Let's go to the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 5, starting at verse 1. It says, nevertheless, as concerning, as coming, in the actual book it says concerning. But anyway, nevertheless, as coming the tokens, right, which is talking about the prophecies, it says, behold, the days shall come, that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number. And that doesn't mean raptured like the Christians think. You're not going to be taken off the earth and in a fluffy cloud floating up in the sky, raptured out of here. No, you're going to be in this tribulation. Okay, you're going to get mowed down, you Christians. I've got scripture for you in just a minute proving that you're going to get mowed down too, right? So it says, they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken, meaning judged, put to death in a great number. It says, and the way of truth shall be hidden, because the prophets ain't going to be out here teaching anymore, because the elect are sealed, and then it's time for judgment. It says, and the land shall be barren of faith, because like I said, when you Christians are getting mowed down, and you Islamists and all that, you Muslims or whatever, you're going to get mowed down because your gods are false gods, and you're going to find out the hard way, man. You're going to F around and find out. And you're going to have no faith in your gods anymore. You're going to be looking for the way of truth, which was coming through the Hebrew Israelites. You're going to look for us, and you ain't going to be able to find us. Read Amos 8, verse 11 on down. Okay, and it speaks of that. Anyway, verse 2, it says, but iniquity, which is sin upon sin, shall be increased above that which thou now seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. Goes into Jacob's trouble, a time like no other. Right? So it's going to be great evil in the earth. And it says, in the land that thou seest now to have root, shalt thou see wasted suddenly. Okay, and that's going into when the nukes drop, because the cherry on top for America is going to be that it gets, after the bloodshed, the great judgment through bloodshed and war, then is going to be nuclear holocaust, and America is going to get pelted with nuclear missiles from coast to coast, get turned into a desert, man. All right, let's go to the book of Jeremiah, because we're going to prove that you Christians, just like I read, that the land is going to be barren of faith. Jeremiah 14 and 14, you Christians are through, man. It says, then said Yahweh unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name. I sent them not. Okay, so these Christian pastors, you know, and false prophets among the Hebrew Israelites that are leading their camps astray. It says, I sent them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. They prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and a thing of naught, meaning a thing of nothing. So they're telling you lies, okay, just to either get your money. They're childish leaders that are doing all kind of gimmicks for clout, and they're not warning you. They're not doing what the Lord requires of you, which is prophesy, okay? The elect are the ones that have the testimony of the Lord Yahushua. And the testimony, pursuant to Revelations 19:10, is the spirit of prophecy. Because we're living in a time where you need to hear a message like what you're hearing now. You need to hear of what's coming and how to prepare yourself for that. Okay, and that's being a true servant of the Lord. These other people that are clapping and singing and robbing you and taking your money and teaching you lies, you know, they're false prophets. And there's a great judgment coming for them and the people that follow them. Okay, so let me start from the top again. Jeremiah 14:14. Then Yahweh said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name. I sent them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. They prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and a thing of naught, and the deceit of their heart, which the heart is the mind. So they're just winging it. They're making up stuff, saying the Lord is dealing with them, okay? But you need the Holy Spirit to be able to find who the true prophets are. Verse 15, it says, therefore, thus saith Yahweh concerning the prophets that prophesy in my name, and I sent them not. Yet they say, sword and famine shall not be in this land. Because they're teaching you a prosperity doctrine, saying peace, peace, when there is no peace. Okay? So they say sword and famine ain't going to be in this land, but it is. And the real prophets are the ones that are teaching you this. The scriptures say you'll know them by their fruits. So the ones that are teaching what thus saith the Lord, what the Bible actually says, they're the real prophets. It says, yet they say, sword and famine shall not be in this land. It says, by sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. See? So that's what's coming. Because during the time of civil war, there's going to be a famine also. A famine of food and a famine of hearing the truth. Okay? It says in verse 16, and the people to whom they prophesy, right? So these false prophets, these Christian pastors, all these people with these bugged out doctrines, leading people astray, right? The people who they prophesy to, the ones that are blindly following them like idiots, and the people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem, meaning where the Israelites reside. Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. So the streets of the Israelites, because of the famine and the sword. So you're going to be cast out like dung, man. You're just going to be laid out in the street. There's going to be bodies upon bodies, man. Okay? Because of the famine and the sword combined. There's going to be a lot of dead people in the near future. Many shall be taken in a great number. And the way of truth shall be hidden. Remember I read that earlier. So it says, and the people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and they shall have none to bury them, their wives, nor their sons, nor their daughters, for I will pour their wickedness upon them. So that's the time we're coming into, man. And it's of the utmost importance that you take this time serious, man. All right, let's jump back to 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, and we're going to start at verse 33. And it says, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Because there's going to be a shortage of men. Men are going to die in civil war, okay? Men are going to be dying in a large number from protests, from the conscription that's coming, because a lot of people are going to be drafted off into the war too. And if you get drafted in the war, you're not coming back. I'm going to just tell you, I'm going to give you that for free. right? So these women are going to mourn for having no helpers. In verse 34, it says, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So like it constantly reiterates itself, saying that many men are going to die from war and famine. And this is what's brewing up, man. Okay. And I came across these clips and I thought I had to show you just to back up what we've been preaching for a long time. It's all happening. You're seeing it manifest. So this is the time we're coming into. There's going to be a shortage of men out here, man. All right. Let's jump up to verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? So this is what Ezra, the prophet Ezra saw, the vision he was given. He saw the time that we're living in now, because this is the time of all times. And this is the time of the return of the Lord Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So he says, woe is me, meaning, you know, death is me, destruction is me, right? Who will deliver me in those days? Because he knew he was going to be back here in these days. And that's going into a whole nother topic, dealing with reincarnation, which is something that you need to understand the Bible. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. Okay, keep that in mind. It says the beginning of wars, which we can see happening, and the powers shall stand in fear. That's talking about these elites. It says in the beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Lord has sent these things to get you right. But verse 20 says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Because you people are so easily distracted with folly and entertainment, man. Bread and circus. And you're not taking this time you're living in serious. You're going to feel like fools when all is said and done. Right? It says, behold, victuals, which is talking about food, shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. So you think you're good right now just because you can go get a Big Mac for a few quid or a few dollars, right? Food is cheap right now. You know, you're filling up your basket with food and everything. You're feeding your kids, everything fine. So you're thinking things are always going to be like that. So you think yourself in good case. It says, even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. It says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Okay? And that sword is going to come by Esau, whose blessing was the sword. And he's going to raise up his militias and mow you down, okay? Because they're training. Let me show you another quick video. Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right, check this out. The sword is coming. They're training.
It's
and
like a key.
These Edomites, these red devils are ready for this. They've been waiting for this, man. Okay, these are the violent people of the earth. Check this out, man.
What looks at first like a keep fit class is in fact Britain's leading far-right force, training in plain sight. You're about to see many months condensed into minutes. Since the summer riots, we've been watching the group's growth and hearing its descent towards violent, racist rhetoric.
I don't think that people do. I don't like their culture. I don't know where they behave. I don't know where they act. It's not their skin colour, it's them.
As the seasons changed, so did the language.
Down, guys. White power.
So did their intentions.
Got about £1,000 worth of throwing knives and axes on the way, and I've got a bunch of bows as well.
More than 100 hours of undercover footage helped to tell the story of a group preparing for violence.
It's very clear the racism, the white supremacy, the anti-Semitism is severe. These are people preparing to commit acts of violence.
Go back to where you come from, you. Can you tell me about Active Club England?
We're about to expose and confront one of the members as we go undercover. inside Britain's fascist fight club.
So it's gonna be in the UK too. All right, it's gonna be in the UK too. Keep that in mind, man. It's about to get really ugly out here, right? So let's read verse 22 again. It says, "For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy." The sword is Esau Edom. Okay, and he's gonna mow down a lot of you Jakes. Okay, and Jake gonna be mowing down a lot of Edomites too. Okay, but these Edomites, you know, their blessing was the sword, so they're gonna be really doing some damage during that time. It says in verse 23, it says, "And the dead shall be cast out as dung, doo-doo." It says, "And there shall be no man to comfort them," meaning giving them a proper burial. It says, "For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down." Okay, so this is the time we're coming into, and Esau is training for this day because he knows it's coming. All right, so I just want to close it out with one more precept. We'll wrap it up. This is verse 67. So 2 Ezra 16 and 67, it says, "Behold, the Most High himself is the judge. Fear him." So the Lord is the one that's orchestrating all of this. He's the one you need to run to for protection. Okay, because he's sending these scourges. He's sending these plagues as scourges for amendment, meaning to get you right. Okay, but the wise are going to listen and take heed and run for cover. You know, scriptures speak about a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Okay, don't be simple in these times we're coming into, man, because you and your children and your wife are going to get mowed down in these times we're coming into if you're not protected, right? So let me read this again from the top. 2 Ezra 16 and 67, it says, "Behold, the Most High himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins," which sin is transgression of the law. It says, "Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble." And that includes the time of Jacob's trouble. All right. So that's the Lord's promise, and he's always true to his word. So on that note, I want to close it out. Give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah, Qudash, Shalom.